Have you ever opened your freezer, pulled out a meal that promised to be quick and easy, and thought to yourself, for millions of older adults, that small act feels harmless, even smart? After all, frozen foods are marketed as convenient, budget-friendly, and sometimes even healthy. But here's the hidden truth no one talks about. Some of those boxes stacked neatly in your freezer can quietly damage your heart and blood vessels every single time you eat them. At least it's better than fast food. The danger doesn't come from a drive-through or a greasy takeout bag. It's sitting in your own kitchen, wrapped in shiny packaging and covered with labels that sound reassuring. What most people don't realize is that certain frozen foods are loaded with excess sodium, inflammatory oils, refined starches, and chemical additives that age your arteries from the inside out. Studies show that just one frozen breakfast sandwich can deliver over 1,200 milligrams of sodium, almost your entire daily limit, before you've even had your morning coffee. Now imagine the long-term toll. High blood pressure creeping up year after year, arteries stiffening without symptoms, that occasional dizziness, swelling in your ankles, or unusual fatigue you brush off as just getting older. In many cases, it isn't age at all. It's the silent effect of the foods we eat most often. But here's the good news. Your freezer can also hold powerful allies. There are frozen foods proven by clinical research to relax blood vessels, lower blood pressure, fight inflammation, and even rebuild muscle and artery strength. In other words, the very same freezer that might be hurting your health could just as easily become a source of healing and vitality if you know which foods to choose and which to avoid. So stay with me, because in this video you'll discover 4 frozen foods you should never touch and 4 frozen foods you should eat every day to keep your heart strong well into your 70s and 80s. The worst ones are more dangerous than you think, and the best ones may surprise you. Before we dive in, let's set the stage. I'm not just going to rattle off a list of foods. Instead, I'll walk you through a clear ranking system. We'll start with the frozen items that cause the least harm and build up to the ones that are truly dangerous. Then we'll flip the script and reveal the frozen foods that actively help your body heal, from the least powerful to the most protective. This way, you'll see the full picture, what's quietly draining your energy and what can restore it. Each step of the way, I'll explain not only what to avoid or embrace, but why. You'll learn how these foods impact your blood pressure, circulation, and overall heart health, backed by scientific evidence and explained in plain, everyday language. My goal isn't to scare you, it's to empower you with practical knowledge that you can use right away. And here's a quick favor. As you listen, think about your own freezer. Which of these foods shows up most often in your meals? Drop it in the comments below. Sharing your experience doesn't just help you, it helps other seniors who are facing the same choices. We read every single story, and your input makes this community stronger. At first glance, breaded fish fillets seem like a smart choice. After all, fish is supposed to be heart healthy, right? We've all heard about omega-3s and lean protein. But the moment those fillets are coated, fried, and frozen, what started as a healthy idea turns into a hidden cardiovascular hazard, especially for adults over 60. Here's why. That golden coating is often made from refined white flour mixed with hydrogenated oils and preservatives. Instead of nourishing your heart, it delivers a triple punch: excess sodium, cheap industrial fats, and a quick-burning starch that spikes blood sugar. In fact, a single serving of breaded frozen fish can contain over 500 milligrams of sodium, nearly a quarter of the recommended daily intake. For seniors whose kidneys filter sodium less efficiently with age, that's a recipe for fluid retention, swollen ankles, and rising blood pressure. But sodium is only part of the problem. Industrial frying and freezing create compounds called advanced glycation end products, AGEs for short. These substances accelerate vascular aging, damage cells, and interfere with how your body manages insulin. One study published in Circulation Research linked high AGE levels with nearly double the risk of atrial fibrillation, a heart rhythm disorder that already affects 1 in 3 adults over 65. If you've ever felt your heart flutter or skip after a heavy meal, it could be more than coincidence. And then there are the hidden additives. Many low-cost breaded fillets are soaked in phosphates to keep their texture. For younger people, that might not cause immediate harm, But for older adults with aging kidneys or fragile arteries, excess phosphate can harden blood vessels and increase the risk of stroke. Combine that with low-quality white fish, like pollock or basa, that's lost much of its natural nutrition, and you're left with a product that looks wholesome on the outside, but depletes your health from the inside. So what should you do instead? The swap is simple and delicious. Skip the breading. Look for frozen wild-caught fish without coatings or sauces. Season it yourself with lemon, garlic, and a drizzle of olive oil. Bake or steam until tender. Not only will you avoid the excess salt and additives, but that combination has actually been shown to support endothelial function, the inner lining of your blood vessels, and reduce inflammation. For someone over 60, that means better circulation, more energy, and less strain on the heart. If you've noticed swelling in your ankles, unexpected fatigue, or a racing heartbeat after eating, don't dismiss it as just aging. It could be your body's way of waving a red flag. Breaded fish fillets might be cheap and convenient, but the long-term cost to your health is far too high. For many older adults, frozen pizza feels like the ultimate comfort food. It's inexpensive, easy to heat up, and satisfying with its gooey cheese and crispy crust. But beneath that familiar flavor lies a minefield of hidden dangers that strike right at the heart and arteries. Dangers that grow more serious as we age. Let's start with sodium. A single personal-sized frozen pizza can pack more than 1,000 milligrams of salt, sometimes up to 1,500. That's well over half of your daily allowance in just one meal. For seniors whose bodies hold on to sodium more easily, this overload pushes blood pressure higher, strains the heart, and contributes to stiffening arteries. If you're already dealing with swelling in your legs or dizziness when you stand, pizza may be one culprit. Then there's the crust. Most frozen pizzas are made with bleached white flour. It digests quickly, spikes blood sugar, and triggers an insulin surge that leaves you drained and foggy a few hours later. Over time, those repeated spikes damage the inner lining of your arteries and set the stage for silent heart attacks or strokes. Research now links refined carbs like this to greater arterial stiffness and plaque buildup, a dangerous combination for people over 60. And what about the cheese? In many frozen pizzas, it isn't even real cheese. Instead, it's an imitation blend loaded with emulsifiers, vegetable oils, and sodium phosphate. While these additives keep the pizza looking melty and appealing, they wreak havoc inside the body. Excess phosphate has been shown to harden arteries and leach calcium from bones, raising fracture risk at the same time it endangers the heart. In older adults, a 2017 study published in Kidney International found that high phosphate levels quadrupled the risk of arterial calcification and raised cardiac mortality by nearly 40%. Add processed meats like pepperoni or sausage, and the risks climb even higher. Nitrates and nitrites used in these toppings convert into nitrosamines inside the body, compounds that damage blood vessels, impair nitric oxide production, and accelerate aging of the cardiovascular system. It's no surprise that people often feel bloated, lightheaded, or unusually tired after eating frozen pizza. It's their body sounding the alarm. So what's the better path? Try making your own mini pizza at home with whole grain flatbread, real tomato paste, fresh spinach, and a sprinkle of mozzarella. Add olive oil for healthy fats and top it with vegetables instead of processed meat. The result is just as quick, costs about the same, but supports circulation rather than clogging it. If frozen pizza has become a weekly habit, know that it isn't harmless. It's quietly raising your blood pressure, fueling inflammation, and putting your heart under stress. For seniors aiming to enjoy their 70s and 80s with vitality, replacing this so-called comfort food could be one of the most important health decisions you ever make. Smoothies have become a modern symbol of health. Bright packaging promises antioxidants, immune support, and energy in every sip. And when you see pre-cut frozen fruit blends in the grocery freezer, it feels like an easy shortcut. Just toss them in the blender and you're done. But for older adults, especially those past 60, many of these smoothie packs create more problems than they solve. The first hidden issue is sugar. Even when the label proudly says no added sugar, the fruit combinations often include high glycemic choices like pineapple, mango, and banana. In concentrated form, They deliver a surge of natural sugar that overwhelms aging metabolism. Seniors are more likely to experience delayed insulin response, which means blood sugar rises faster and stays higher. A 2020 study in diabetes and vascular disease research found that older adults with elevated post-meal blood sugar, even without diabetes, had a 48% higher risk of cardiovascular events. That morning energy burst you feel after a sweet smoothie? It's often followed by a crash that leaves you drained, foggy, or even dizzy. Next comes nutrient loss. Frozen fruit can be healthy if processed right, but many of these packs sit in storage for months. Over time, levels of vitamin C and protective polyphenols decline, leaving you with a sugary load stripped of its natural defenses. Without those antioxidants, sugar hits harder, accelerating arterial stiffening and oxidative stress. Then there's how these packs are usually consumed. Many people blend them with sweetened almond milk, fruit juice, or flavored yogurt, piling sugar on sugar. What seems like a healthy breakfast can quietly push blood sugar roller coasters that damage circulation and drain long-term energy. For someone already noticing fatigue after meals or struggling with weight gain, that's a dangerous pattern. So how can you enjoy smoothies safely? The answer lies in low glycemic swaps. Instead of tropical fruit mixes, choose frozen blackberries, blueberries, or raspberries. These berries are packed with anthocyanins, powerful plant compounds that calm inflammation, protect artery walls, and improve blood flow. Add a tablespoon of ground flaxseed for fiber and include a scoop of unsweetened protein powder or plain Greek yogurt. That blend slows sugar absorption, keeps energy steady, and nourishes heart and muscle tissue rather than spiking blood sugar. If you've noticed mental fog, midday crashes, or swelling in your hands and feet after your morning smoothie, don't shrug it off. The problem may not be age, it may be the wrong fruit mix. By switching to lower sugar, higher fiber combinations, you can turn smoothies back into the health tool they were meant to be. Smoothies don't have to be harmful, but frozen fruit packs loaded with sugar and stripped of nutrients can quietly undermine your health. Make the swap, and your blender can become a daily ally for heart health instead of a hidden threat. Few foods feel more convenient than a frozen breakfast sandwich. Just unwrap, pop it in the microwave, and in minutes you've got a warm meal of eggs, cheese, and sausage. For busy mornings, it feels like a lifesaver. But beneath that quick convenience lies one of the most dangerous choices a senior can make for heart health. Let's break it down. First, the sodium load. A typical frozen breakfast sandwich delivers anywhere from 800 to 1,300 milligrams of sodium before 9 a.m. That's more than half of the daily allowance in a single sitting. For adults over 60, whose kidneys filter sodium less effectively, this overload doesn't just pass through. It lingers in the bloodstream, increasing volume and forcing blood pressure higher. Over time, this relentless pressure stiffens arteries and enlarges the heart muscle. A 2022 analysis in the Journal of Hypertension found that seniors consuming more than 1,500 milligrams of sodium per day were 71% more likely to develop left-sided heart failure. Now look at the fillings. Processed meats like bacon and sausage may taste savory, but they're loaded with nitrates and nitrites. Inside the body, these chemicals convert into nitrosamines, compounds that damage blood vessels, reduce nitric oxide, and speed up arterial hardening. Every bite seems harmless, yet each one quietly chips away at vascular health. And what about the egg? In many brands, it isn't a fresh egg at all. It's a mixture of powdered egg, emulsifiers, and additives designed to survive freezing and reheating. High heat processing of these artificial blends produces advanced glycation end products, AGEs, that fuel inflammation, disrupt normal immune responses, and have been linked in circulation to atherosclerosis, arrhythmias, and even cognitive decline in older adults. The bun or biscuit doesn't help either. Usually made from bleached white flour and commercial seed oils, it digests rapidly, spikes blood sugar, and contributes to morning crashes. That dizziness or blurred vision some seniors feel after breakfast isn't always just age. It may be your metabolism struggling under the weight of refined carbs, sodium, and additives all at once. Put it all together, and a frozen breakfast sandwich becomes a triple threat: sodium overload, processed meat toxins, and refined carb crashes. Eating them regularly doesn't just increase your risk of high blood pressure, it raises the likelihood of heart failure, stroke, and metabolic decline. So what's the better choice? Swap the box for a homemade version. Toast a slice of whole grain bread, scramble a real egg with spinach, and top it with avocado or a sprinkle of fresh cheese. It takes about the same time, costs less over the long run, and provides protein, fiber, and healthy fats that stabilize blood sugar instead of sending it on a roller coaster. Convenience is important, especially as we age, but it should never come at the cost of your heart. Frozen breakfast sandwiches may look innocent, but in reality, they're one of the fastest ways to burden your cardiovascular system. By making a simple swap, you can still enjoy a hearty breakfast without paying for it with your long-term health. Spinach has been called a silent warrior for the heart, and when it's frozen at peak freshness, it keeps much of its natural power intact. For seniors, this humble leafy green can be one of the most reliable allies hiding in the freezer. The secret lies in its nitrate content. When you eat spinach, those natural nitrates convert into nitric oxide inside the body, a molecule that relaxes blood vessels, improves circulation, and lowers blood pressure. Unlike medications that may bring side effects, spinach does this gently and naturally. In fact, research published in Clinical Nutrition found that just one serving of spinach per day lowered systolic blood pressure by 4.8 millimeters of mercury within a single week. For adults over 60, that kind of improvement can mean the difference between borderline high blood pressure and healthy control. Frozen spinach makes this benefit even more accessible. Because it's blanched and sealed shortly after harvest, the nutrients are locked in, ready whenever you are. No washing, chopping, or wilting leaves to worry about. That convenience matters as we age, when strength and time in the kitchen may be limited, and the uses are endless. Stir frozen spinach into soups, stews, or omelets. Sauté it with garlic and olive oil for a quick side dish. Blend it into a smoothie with berries to balance sweetness with extra fiber and nutrients. However you use it, you're feeding your body compounds that directly support healthier arteries and better blood flow. Some seniors notice subtle but real improvements after adding spinach daily. Warmer hands and feet, fewer dizzy spells, and a steadier pulse. Those aren't coincidences. They're signs of improved circulation. Spinach also delivers magnesium, potassium, and folate, nutrients that work together to regulate heartbeat, flush excess sodium, and reduce homocysteine levels linked to artery plaque. The best part, unlike trendy supplements or costly superfood powders, frozen spinach is inexpensive and widely available. You don't have to chase exotic products to strengthen your heart. Sometimes the most powerful solution is the simplest one, sitting in the freezer section of your local store. When you think about foods that truly fight high blood pressure, don't overlook this green bag. Adding spinach to your daily routine may be one of the easiest, most affordable steps you can take to keep your heart strong well into your 70s and 80s. Edamame, young green soybeans picked before they fully mature, may not be in every senior's freezer, but it deserves a spot. Behind its simple appearance lies one of the most powerful plant-based foods for protecting the heart, lowering blood pressure, and nourishing aging arteries. Let's start with minerals. A single cup of edamame contains about 676 milligrams of potassium, nearly 25% of the daily recommended amount, along with magnesium and calcium. These nutrients work together to relax blood vessels, help flush excess sodium, and maintain a steady heartbeat. For adults over 60, who often struggle with sodium retention and rising blood pressure, that mineral support is invaluable. But the real star of edamame is its isoflavones, plant compounds that mimic some of the protective effects of estrogen on blood vessels. As estrogen naturally declines with age, arteries tend to stiffen, and blood pressure climbs, particularly in postmenopausal women. Isoflavones help counteract this shift. In fact, research presented by the American College of Cardiology showed that people consuming diets higher in isoflavones had systolic blood pressure, an average of 5.5 millimeters of mercury, lower than those with the lowest intake. That kind of reduction significantly decreases long-term cardiovascular risk. Edamame is also a high-quality source of plant protein containing all 9 essential amino acids. For seniors concerned about muscle loss, known as sarcopenia, this makes edamame a valuable ally. Maintaining muscle mass not only supports mobility, but also reduces strain on the heart by keeping metabolism efficient. The preparation couldn't be simpler. Frozen edamame usually comes pre-shelled or in pods. Just steam for 5 minutes. Sprinkle lightly with sea salt and enjoy as a snack. Or toss them into salads, soups, or even a morning smoothie for an extra protein boost. Unlike heavily processed frozen meals, edamame gives you clean, plant-based nutrition without preservatives or artificial additives. Seniors who added edamame to their routine often report feeling steadier energy, fewer blood pressure spikes, and less bloating compared to salty, processed snacks. It's the kind of small, consistent change that pays off over time. At the end of the day, frozen edamame is more than a snack. It's a natural tool for lowering blood pressure, protecting arteries, and supporting strength in the decades ahead. If you're looking for one easy addition to your freezer that delivers big health rewards, this is it. If there's one food that proves sweet can still be heart healthy, it's berries. Blackberries, blueberries, and raspberries aren't just delicious. They're packed with compounds that directly protect aging arteries. And the good news is, when they're frozen, they keep nearly all of their nutritional value. What makes berries so powerful is their deep color. Those rich blues, purples, and reds come from anthocyanins, plant pigments that act like bodyguards for your blood vessels. They reduce inflammation, improve the flexibility of artery walls, and even lower LDL cholesterol, the bad kind that clogs circulation. In fact, a study published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition found that older adults who ate berries daily saw arterial stiffness drop by more than 9%, and LDL levels fall by 11% within weeks. For someone over 60, those are changes you can feel. Frozen berries also improve endothelial function, the ability of your arteries to expand and contract as needed. Poor endothelial function is one of the first silent warning signs of cardiovascular disease long before symptoms appear. In a clinical trial, seniors who consumed blueberries every day for 8 weeks experienced not just lower blood pressure, but also significantly better blood flow, thanks to higher nitric oxide levels. That means warmer hands and feet, fewer dizzy spells, and steadier energy throughout the day. Unlike high-sugar fruits often found in smoothie packs, berries have a low glycemic index. Their natural fiber slows the absorption of sugar, preventing the roller coaster energy crashes so many seniors experience after meals. And because they're often frozen just hours after harvest, berries can actually retain more vitamin C and antioxidants than fresh berries that sit for days during shipping. The best part is how easy they are to use. Add a handful of frozen blueberries to oatmeal, blend raspberries into a protein shake, or enjoy blackberries as an afternoon snack. They thaw quickly and fit seamlessly into almost any meal. Seniors who make the switch often notice less joint pain, more steady energy, and even clearer thinking. Subtle but powerful signs that inflammation is under control. Frozen berries are proof that healthy eating doesn't have to be complicated or expensive. They turn your freezer into a medicine cabinet stocked with natural heart protection, one handful at a time. It might surprise you to hear that plain, frozen chicken wings, when prepared the right way, can actually be one of the most heart-supportive foods in your freezer. For decades, wings have carried a reputation as junk food. But that's only true when they're breaded, deep-fried, and drenched in salty sauces. Strip those away, and you're left with a clean, protein-rich food that offers unique benefits for seniors. The first advantage is high-quality protein. Wings contain all the essential amino acids your body needs to repair and preserve muscle. After age 60, muscle loss accelerates, slowing metabolism and straining the heart. A 2022 study in Nutrients found that seniors who consume more protein, particularly from poultry, had a 41% lower risk of cardiovascular events over 5 years. By supporting strong muscles, chicken wings indirectly protect your heart as well. Wings also provide collagen, especially types 1 and 3, which strengthen artery walls and joints. As we age, collagen production naturally declines, leading to stiffer arteries and weaker connective tissue. Eating wings with the skin and bone helps replenish this structural support, keeping blood vessels more flexible and lowering stroke risk. Micronutrients add to the package. Wings are naturally rich in zinc, selenium, and vitamin B6, all essential for nerve communication, cholesterol metabolism, and immune defense. For seniors, these nutrients help sustain energy, maintain heart rhythm, and reduce the impact of age-related inflammation. The key is preparation. Choose frozen chicken wings labeled plain or unbreaded. Bake or air fry them without extra oil, seasoning lightly with anti-inflammatory spices like garlic, turmeric, or rosemary. Avoid the heavy sauces loaded with sugar and salt. Cooked this way, wings are crisp, flavorful, and deeply satisfying without sabotaging your health. Seniors who make wings part of a weekly routine often notice more stable energy, improved mobility, and even fewer nighttime leg cramps thanks to the combination of protein, minerals, and collagen. Instead of thinking of wings as guilty pleasure, think of them as a strategic tool, fuel for your muscles, protection for your arteries, and comfort for your joints. So yes, wings can be junk food, but only if you let them. When you take charge of how they're prepared, they transform into one of the most surprising and effective ways to keep your heart strong well into your later years. We've reached the end of our journey through the freezer aisle, and by now, one thing should be crystal clear. Your freezer itself isn't the enemy. It's the choices we make inside it. Some frozen foods quietly load your body with sodium, sugar, and chemical additives that push blood pressure higher, stiffen arteries, and drain your energy day by day. Others, just as convenient and affordable, work in the exact opposite direction, relaxing blood vessels, nourishing muscles, and protecting your heart from the inside out. So let's take a moment to review the swaps that could make all the difference. The 4 frozen foods to avoid are breaded fish fillets that hide oils, salt, and phosphates behind a crunchy coating, frozen pizzas that deliver a storm of sodium, refined flour, and fake cheese in a single sitting, smoothie packs packed with high glycemic fruit that spike blood sugar and leave you foggy and fatigued, breakfast sandwiches that combine sodium overload, processed meat toxins, and refined carbs into a morning disaster. And the 4 frozen foods to embrace are frozen spinach, rich in nitrates that create nitric oxide, lowering blood pressure naturally. Frozen edamame, providing minerals, protein, and isoflavones that strengthen blood vessels. Frozen berries packed with anthocyanins that reduce inflammation and improve cholesterol. Plain frozen chicken wings, surprisingly protective when oven-baked or air-fried, offering protein, collagen, and key micronutrients. Notice something? The worst foods pretend to be comforting, but they sap your strength. The best foods may look ordinary, yet they quietly restore health, circulation, and resilience. That contrast is your blueprint for building a freezer that heals instead of harms. Now think about your own kitchen. Open your freezer in your mind. Which box, bag, or tray jumped out at you during this video? Was it the pizza you've been keeping for quick dinners? The breakfast sandwiches that feel like a morning shortcut? Or maybe the smoothie packs you thought were healthy enough? Identifying just one of those habits and swapping it for a better option could be the start of a powerful transformation. Instead of breaded fish, try wild-caught fillets baked with garlic and lemon. Instead of frozen pizza, create your own flatbread with whole grains, spinach, and real mozzarella. Replace sugary smoothies with berry blends plus flaxseed and protein powder, and trade breakfast sandwiches for a homemade egg and avocado toast that stabilizes energy for hours. These aren't huge, complicated changes. They're small steps that add up. One meal at a time, one choice at a time, you can take back control of your health. And the best part? You don't have to give up convenience. Your freezer can still be your ally. You just have to fill it with the right allies. So here's my challenge to you. This week, remove at least one of the worst 4 from your freezer and replace it with one of the best 4. Keep track of how you feel, your energy, your blood pressure, even your mood. You might be surprised how quickly your body responds when you stop feeding it silent saboteurs and start nourishing it with foods that care for your heart. Before you go, let's build this conversation together. Which frozen food are you ready to give up first? Or which healthy swap are you most excited to try? Share your answer in the comments. We read every single one, and your story may inspire someone else to make the same change. If you found this video helpful, please hit the like button, subscribe, and tap the notification bell so you never miss another vital tip for senior health. And share this video with a friend, a sibling, or even your church group, because healthy changes are always easier when we take them together. Remember, every choice you make after age 60 matters more than ever. Your next meal can either weaken your heart or strengthen it. The power is in your hands, and your freezer can hold the key. Choose wisely and let every bite move you closer to a longer, stronger, and more vibrant life.